Welcome to another New Normal podcast where I try to keep up with the changing digital experience space. Today, I have Tobias Goebel with me from Boston today, where we chat about why the last 10 years didn't bring the changes I expected. This interview was recorded in March 2020. Enjoy. 7 years, 2013, I think we connected on LinkedIn once. Seems like ages ago. I do remember 2 years ago you were in Berlin. And I was running around with a camera and a microphone interviewing people for my day job. And I showed up at your company's stand, and there was a marketing woman there who ran over and looked at my badge and freaked out. Why are you here with a camera on our stage interviewing Tobias here? So I appreciate you joining me again. We did an interview 2 years ago, and now we're once again back here. Take a moment and introduce yourself.
Yeah, Tobias Goebel. I have been working in technology and business for about 16 years in the customer service industry. And born and raised in Germany, moved to the US in 2010. Florida first, now Boston, which I enjoy much more despite the currently miserable weather. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
It's funny. So you're born and raised in Germany, moved to the U.S. I'm born and raised in New Orleans and moved to Germany. Okay. So trading places. Yeah. I mean, Boston weather is not, well, you might get a bit more snow than I get here in this part of Germany, but I'm so desperate to see some sunshine and some warmth over here. One thing that got me to reach out, or you reached out to me originally, just recently, is you made a comment. Actually, we use a lot of LinkedIn direct messaging. I think it's great that's available there. But you reached out and made a comment recently on a post that I put up in November, I believe it was, end of November, where I did a sort of a reflection or an introspective of my Twitter handle on an objective that I started in 2010, which was I created a Twitter account called Service Please 20, which still exists. And on my bio there, it says, I'm going to, my mission is in the next 10 years, by the year 2020, I'm going to just change the way corporations, businesses communicate with their customers because of all the internet we had around. And my reflection was basically I failed, and that I felt I hadn't made as much of an impact, or the industry as a whole hadn't moved as much in that last 10 years. And I know you've been reflecting as well on, industries moving at certain speeds. Should one continue with it? Is it the right place to go? I just wondered, you reached out and maybe go trawl through my LinkedIn feed to find that again. And I got a lot of interesting comments. People said, just keep going at it. Why don't you get a new Twitter handle called 20 Please 30 or 40 or 50, or there's great things still coming. And I just wondered what some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I think we're basically seeing human inertia at play, as I call it. It's, I think it's always been the case that technology moves faster than humans as a system. I think individuals move quite fast. I think us as consumers, we now are trained to jump on the latest and greatest, and we're not shy to do that. There's this chart that shows the adoption curves of technology over the last century, and the curves grow narrower and narrower. So I think voice assistants, smart assistants are now the fastest adopted technology ever, and the next thing coming up will probably get adopted even faster. But at the same time, while that happens in our personal lives, there's something about business life and professional life where that slows down. And of course, we know it's processes and it's financial cycles and investment cycles, but it also depends, I think, on pressure, on seeing the need to change something. There's this saying, never change a running system, sure, but you should ask yourselves, how well is it really running still? Just, I think sometimes you can get lost in just looking at metrics you set up, and the metrics still tell you a good story. Calls are still coming in to our call center, so everything is fine, I guess. But meanwhile, the world is changing out there, and I wonder, what we can do. Should we do something? Is that something that is a good on its own to change things, right? But why isn't it happening as fast as you and I want to?
There's a leader. I won't give away too much who I talk to, but there's a leader of a company that makes headphones that are used in businesses, offices, as well as contact centers. One of the major brands out there, and he's the leader of that business. And I ran into him, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, just by chance, probably on Twitter or LinkedIn somewhere. We connected, and I've met him also in Berlin at the trade fair a couple of times. About once a year, I would pose him a question and just, or my assumption, saying, "Oh, those sales of those headphones must be going down now because fewer phone calls are coming into contact centers." And he just every time comes back and saying, "Nope, not happening." It was a couple of years ago. He did say that the type of headphones that were being bought were changing to more higher quality. So cordless varieties, double ear headphones, and things like that, instead of the cheapest version. He said, but the number of units, I guess, that they were selling definitely were not going down. And I know we see statistics that show maybe some tapering off on the number of calls, but I know from a day job, calls are still there. They might be coming in with a different type of quality and qualification, because a user or person might be going on the web and trying to inform themselves, and often the calls are longer the distance. But my question, and I know it's a big subject that you had spent many years on, the internet is not anything new. You said 16 years ago, so 2004 we had the internet. Web 2.0 was coming, the iPhone 2007. We have all these tools which we use in our daily lives, in our private lives, to communicate with one another. I've got 20-year-old kids now. If it doesn't happen in text, it almost doesn't happen. Well, that's not true. I do get voice messages in WhatsApp now, so they do use their voice again. But why doesn't it happen in businesses, right? Why is the uptake so slow to offer that? And they tell me the same. The phones keep ringing. We're doing just fine.
I think you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you might be missing out, right? If you keep doing the same thing, nothing will change. And what is so surprising to me is to realize that we know now that there's significant cost savings in when you switch from voice, which is a one-to-one real-time channel. You can only have one conversation at a time, to messaging, not even talking live chat. Live chat has been around for a while, but even there you're limited in, at least the way the implementations have been done in the past, as synchronous channels, you're limited in how many chats you can have. But with messaging, it's asynchronous. And I've worked at companies where we saw, work with businesses that could easily manage 15, 17 continuous parallel conversations. So if that's the case, and if people love to message, everybody I talk to, and it could be a room full of baby boomers, nods their heads when I say, we we love to message. We would rather message than call someone. So why is it that the adoption is so slow? And I think maybe it's just a lack of suffering. Maybe they're they don't feel the pressure, right? I think you told me that you read somewhere, or someone said that businesses aren't suffering enough.
They don't feel the pain.
They don't feel the pain yet. So part of me then, after now 16 years of working in this industry, goes, gosh, if adoption is so slow, I find myself at times being a little bit disillusioned and frustrated with the progress. I guess I'm an impatient personality character, but it can drive you crazy, because the tech is there. The problem is not the technology. It's in people. It's in embracing change. It's in processes. Do we, as tech vendors, need to work much more closely with those companies that know how to not only change tech, but also change process and uptrain people? And those are, I guess, the consultancies out there.
Yeah, that's we're recording this on, well, it's Friday the 13th actually today. And me being in Germany, and I'm not sure exactly how hot it's gotten in the sense of the news of virus problems and things like that. My inbox at work had started to explode yesterday with interested parties of all different types of public organizations as well as private organizations suddenly maybe feeling the pain, right, and saying I can't just keep opening up more phone lines to my interested parties out there. I need to have another way to inform people. Some of it is just information that needs to be put out there, but in an intelligent way. I have this. I have kind of this feeling what's going to be my next 10 years. And I listened to a podcast that I can't remember the name of it, but I'll share it with you. Maybe I'll put a link into this post here. And I listened to just last weekend. The gentleman whose the name, of course, escapes me while we're recording this, he said the last 10 years we've spent, so from 2010 to 2020, we spent the last 10 years getting people onto the internet. To do things on the internet, and his forecast is the next 10 years we'll spend getting people off the internet. And what he was trying to say there is not that the internet's wrong and bad or social media. It wasn't anything to do with that. Is what we're doing on the internet. Nothing against consuming stuff, videos and movies and music and whatever it might be, or communicating with friends. Again, it wasn't his point. Was an example that I had in my house just a few months ago, where my wife and one of my sons were sitting at the kitchen table. My son asked a question: if he takes his bank card, which he uses, of course, to go to the ATM and get money out, if he goes to a different bank, what fee will he be charged to take that money out? And of course, what they did is, well, one of them had a laptop, the other one had a phone. Actually, my wife had the phone and my son had the laptop. Okay. And they started searching for information. And I'm not sure if it was 45 minutes, an hour and a half or something later, I came back in and they were still looking, having read multitude of PDFs and information, just trying to find all this information. Never got the answer. And so this interview that I listened to last week was about the way we built the internet was built on the tools that we had available. And it's been a wonderful explosion of information and access there. But it's not useful to do a lot of things. And I believe that was something that you started talking about many years ago, about messaging can make some of those things more useful. Messaging, whether it's voice now with our voice assistants or text or whatever the interface might be, can make information, again, useful in a human way, and not a directory tree of information that I as a consumer have to understand the designer of the website and how they built it so that I can find the information.
If your business has reached a certain level of complexity, then you will start seeing the need for easier ways to get to certain answers. And, a website is based on this paradigm of menus. IVR systems are based on menus, and that requires their thinking, or you rely on their thinking of their business and their labeling of the options and menu items. And you have to understand that you have to make a mental effort. So sure, if you can message in, more and more websites now have a chat window and you can just ask your question, and if things go well, you will be led to the answer. But what you find, especially with voice, is that it's great for input and it's much faster. I think studies show that you can be 3 times faster than typing. So it's a great input modality, but it sucks as an output modality. And there's a reason why we listen to podcasts at 1.25 or 1.5 speed, because you can process faster than people can speak. And who knows whether we're being listened to at that speed right now. But so when it comes to output, you want that visual again. So I think going forward, we need to make a much bigger effort to try to weave all those channels together that we have developed, and weave the expertises, from graphical user interface designers and voice user interface designers into a multimodal interface designer or design, and take the best of both worlds. And we're seeing early glimpses of that with devices like the Echo Show. But the Echo Show, the GUI approach that they've taken is to have a fairly limited interaction design when it comes to the visual. It's not reflecting the same complexity you get on a website where you can fill in forms and decide to touch and type while, because it's maybe faster in that moment. No, it's basically just, you're being shown a response, and then you can maybe swipe or maybe select, and that's it. So if we go further on that path, I think we'll have more meaningful ways to interact with our computers. But you got to be able to ask your question. I don't think we can keep relying on the business kind of pre-thinking, how things should be and hoping that the consumer understands.
So let me maybe as a final question here for this time. I think we're going to have to circle around and do this again later. But do you think I haven't been spending a lot of time looking into this multimodal type of way of interacting, and I don't have the Amazon Show device yet here. I've got the voice ones over here all turned off right now, so I don't activate them by chance. Do you think I could put into my Twitter bio that in the next 10 years, we're going to change all these interfaces from this structured input-output into a multimodal communication world?
So 10 years, so, nothing is as hard as predicting the future, but, and we often make the mistake of, especially if we're caught within a hype cycle, we think, oh, in the next, soon things will be, you read that soon, in the next 1 to 2 years, no. 10 years is probably a good horizon, yes. I do think think about how cheap you can now get not only screens, but entire functioning computers, tablets, Fire tablet or whatever from Amazon. So I think we'll see much more screens around us in our homes and in public spaces. And especially in our homes, they will be connected to our voice interfaces. So wherever I am, I think I'll be in reach, whether I sit on the couch or I sit at the dining table or I'm in the kitchen, I will be in arm's reach of a screen. I'll be in listening reach of a voice assistant, and the two will work together to help me get stuff done and answer questions. Yes.
All right, Tobias, I appreciate your time today. And I know what I'm doing right after this interview is I'm going onto Twitter and I'm going to update my Twitter bio for the first time since 2010. I've got it from you, the professional, the one who knows, who has some insights into hopefully where the future is going. I appreciate your time today, Tobias, and hope everything stays safe on your side of the pond. I'll be over here in your home country doing my best to keep everybody happy and healthy as much as we can. Thank you for your time again today.
Thanks, Andrew.